So this is just a quick settings video for Delta Force, as many people have been asking me to make this. I know the playtest ends in a couple of days, but some of these settings will technically still be relevant when the game comes out. So starting off, we're going to the game settings. I have scope magnification adapts automatically. This is the only setting in this menu that I have changed. So what this does is that your scope magnifications will adapt to your field of view of your game. So this will essentially stop your game from like doing that crazy zooming in when you aim in on your weapons, even with like 1x sights and so on. So that's nice. The reason why I really recommend this setting to be on is that this is essentially the quote unquote no recoil setting, because the further away your gun is on your screen, and when you're shooting, it gives you the illusion that you have less recoil, making shooting much easier because you can focus on what you're shooting at more because you're not being distracted by the recoil and so on. So this is why I have that setting on, and this is the only setting that I've changed in this menu. Keyboard and mouse. Now again, I only have a few settings changed here. So my sensitivity is 1.7 and I play on 1600 DPI. I have MDV on only. I think this is default, so yep, I'm pretty sure that's uniform aiming from Battlefield, so I'd recommend having that on. Monitor distance coefficient is set to 178, and the reason why I have it set to 178 is because apparently this is the recommended coefficient for 1440p screens. Yep, so definitely have that if you're running 1440p. I am pretty sure 133, which is actually default, is the best for 1080p resolutions. Controls in combat. I only have two settings changed here. So I have jump, climb, mantle set to scroll wheel down and space. I mainly use scroll wheel down. Now you probably think this is a really weird setting, but for those who play Counter-Strike, you're probably quite familiar with this. In Counter-Strike, bunny hopping is much easier with scroll wheel down, and most players actually jump with scroll wheel in Counter-Strike, so I kind of sort of adopted that into this game. So that's the only reason why I have it. Don't ask why, it just feels really good. I have a switch optic or zoom to mouse 4, which is the rear side button. The reason why I have it set to the rear side button is it just makes it way easier to like change sights or change to tack stance before peeking players. So yeah, that's why I have that. I also have aim set to toggle because I much prefer toggle. Screen and interactions all default, and vehicle is also all default. My screen settings, the only thing I have on in this is the show performance parameters. This will show you your frame rate and your ping. Moving on to graphics, I play on full screen, which is what everyone should be playing on. 1440p resolution. My refresh rate is 240 Hz, and my aspect ratio is 16:9. I have my frame rate capped to 240 because I was having weird stuttering issues on unlimited. I was playing last night and it was fixed, so play unlimited. I would recommend playing unlimited. Sharpness set to 70. My field of view is 115. Moving on to graphics settings, and I was playing with everything on what's the next one above? Oh, on extreme, but since I got a 240Hz monitor, I have actually lowered my settings a little bit just to get a bit more FPS. I was on a 144Hz before, but I have a new monitor now. So these are my settings. I'll scroll down a bit more. I have depth of field off because for some reason this keeps resetting itself when you load the game up. These are for the advanced graphics. I play textures ultimate because texture quality doesn't really impact frame rate that much from what I can tell, so yeah. I might be completely wrong. I haven't actually experimented with low or medium. I've only gone between ultimate and ultra, so I'm probably wrong about that. I have DLSS off. I have played with it on, and you do get a nice frame rate boost, but I really don't like how blurry it looks, so I play with it off. NVIDIA Reflex on, so this just lowers input lag, so you should definitely keep this on. If anyone's curious, I will leave my computer specs in the description below, as well as my keyboard, mouse and monitor. Moving on to audio, I play with 40% because for some reason this game is incredibly loud. I do lower this to 30 when I play with people so I can hear them a bit better. So yeah. Output, headphones, it's kind of obvious that one. HRTF I play with on. This just makes directional audio more accurate so you can hear people better and so on. Music volume I set to 0 because it's annoying, so yeah, it's off. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the settings. There is one more thing I want to go over and essentially just address something because I've been accused of no recoil cheating. So I'm going to show you what I do to make it look like I have no recoil. So first of all, you have to have this on. This is crucial. This needs to be on. Then go to your weapons, go to your optics, and you want to set the calibration on the optic to the smallest it can go, so that if this is on default, it'll be a 1.5x because that's what the holographic is. And when you zoom in, or when you aim in, sorry, your game will zoom in a little bit, just a little bit. But if you set it to the minimum, it will zoom less. In fact, you get no zoom, and I'll show you what that looks like. So you get that less like visual recoil. I mean, there's still visual recoil, but you don't see it as much because you're zoomed out a bit more. It's easy to see on the wall here because the gun smoke is really bad here for some reason. Like, it's really bad. But if you come here, you can't see the gun smoke. Yeah. So the idea behind it is that you're not being distracted by the recoil as much, so therefore you can focus on what you're shooting at. So it makes aiming a lot easier, and that's how I see it at least. Going back into the firing range, I've actually turned those settings off, and to show you what it looks like. So this is what the default game would be. Just look how much that zooms in, and when you shoot, you can see the reticle moving much more, making it like way harder. And that can distract you. You can be like, oh shit, well my recoil control is really bad, I need to work on that. See, it's much higher. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, so I'd really recommend having those settings on. Obviously the magnification's personal preference, but I much prefer it set to a 1x. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my settings. Thank you very much for watching. I'm sure this is helpful for some people. You're probably thinking, why the hell are you making a settings video when it's like a day left on the playtest? And it's simply because these settings will technically still be relevant when the game comes out. So these aren't quote unquote the best settings in the game. These are just my settings. They are far from the best. Again, it's all preference. I mostly play everything default. I have some things change, and I have my guns set up differently to most people. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Please leave a like and comment on what you think, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.